So, it is officially Thanksgiving Day for a lot of people today. So, if those of you that do end up watching this video or tomorrow or whenever, just so you guys know, I want to share this with you. So, happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there that are having Thanksgiving with your families. And I hope that you have every single minute to enjoy with your family as much as possible. But, welcome back to Tech and Gaming Reviews. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the Xbox Series S, because a lot of developers just are always nonstop complaining about this console, and they keep complaining, and they're trying to push Microsoft to no longer support the console, and I seriously still, to this day, think that the Series S is a wonderful piece of hardware. Now, I love the Series X, okay? Getting 4K visuals and performance and such right there, I had to something in my throat there. But being able to play at 4K visuals and such like that on the Series X and as well as the PlayStation 5, it's just awesome. But the Series S, Microsoft, however, touted that it is actually only a 1440p console, and most of the majority of games either run at 1080p or 1440p, and even to an extent, sometimes even under less than 1080p. And I still don't think that it's a big deal. But Stalker 2 just came out a week ago from yesterday, last week, Wednesday, the 20th of November, and I played it on the Xbox Series X after the first patch that had a lot of fixes. Now, granted, the game's not perfect still, but it's definitely a lot better, in a better state than it was with all those patches. And as far as I'm aware, the developers are still going to be fixing the game. And I'm got nothing but praises for those developers, because honestly, as much as we played that game, now we roughly only played around 2 to 2.5 hours of it. We haven't really played a lot of it just yet, but so far, the graphics just look insane, and honestly, the gameplay is honestly good as well. Honestly, Stalker 2 might actually be the best game of the year. Honestly, that might actually be our best game of the year, including Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which is a wonderful Call of Duty game than from the previous years. But Stalker 2 already looks great and so darn smooth and crisp on the Series X. But yesterday, however, we actually decided to hook up our Series S and check it out on the Series S. And while it's not quite as sharp or as crisp as the Series X, it still looked pretty damn freaking good and clean on the S. And I could not imagine, I did not think the Stalker 2 was going to look as good as it does on the Series S. I thought it was going to look a little bit worse than what we've seen. But no. The Series S, however, may not be as sharp as in 4K sort of, but when you're playing on a 4K TV, especially an OLED, oh my gosh, Stalker 2 does, however, look incredibly good on a Series S. We're talking Microsoft's cheap, lower budget console, the Series S. And it still looks pretty darn clean and visually perspective than just compared to the Series X. Even though the Series X is going to look cleaner, it still looks pretty darn clean on the Series S, and the visuals are still impressive. Yeah, the only downside with the Series S that you don't get with it is the performance mode that you do get with the Series X, where if you want quality or performance mode, but the Series S, I forget what resolution it runs. I think it only runs at 1080p, somewhere between 1080p to 1440p, but it also will take, dynamic. It's like a dynamic resolution to where it'll sometimes dip down to 8 something 100p or whatever. But honestly, just for what we've seen on the game, it definitely does not look like it's bad optimized. It looks like a well optimized game for the Series S. And a lot of developers really have been crying and telling Microsoft that, like, hey, you need to stop letting us support this console. We only want to support the Series X. And that's what's been going on. But these developers, they're definitely talent. They're definitely talent. Like, I could not imagine. Like, yeah, even though it only plays the game at 30 frames a second and you don't get an option to play at performance, it is definitely a really smooth, consistent 30 frames as of yet. Now, it's probably not going to be like that. There might be some areas throughout the open world to where it may take a hit. But so far, with the 15 minutes that we've played on the Series S, it so far has been a consistent 30 frames. Like, it has not had no jutters or nothing, like, no dips, like, into, like, lower mid-20s or anything. It's been really, really smooth. So, this is definitely another area that I'm going to give credit for the Series S and call out the developers that say that it is hard to make. Because it is not. And there's a couple other developers, some developers that have, stood up for the Series S because they know how to work with it. And that's just essentially what it is. Most of the developers do not know how to work with the Series S. And they're trying to completely tell Microsoft to shut it down. Microsoft's not going to shut down the Series S because they have probably sold more Series S's than they have with the Series X, even though the Series X is selling incredibly well as well. But over the last 3 years, ever since the consoles started to become like easier to purchase in stores, the Series S has been really selling. And even then, the Series S was really easy to find in stores when it was hard to get a Series X in a PlayStation 5, however. So, when you look at it that way, Microsoft has definitely sold more Series S's than they've had with the Series X. So, even though the Series X is doing great, the Series S is selling more because people just want a cheap budget current gen console with Game Pass on there so they can play games on the whatever the newest gen it is and play newer games that come out. That's the reason. And Microsoft is not going to shut down the Series S because it's selling consoles. It's making them money. They're getting Game Pass subscribers. They're getting people that wants to be in their ecosystem. Now, I know that they're probably going to be something in the comment section saying, bro, Microsoft has not been selling no Xboxes. How can you say that? Yeah, the PlayStation 5 and the Nintendo Switch are the two most popular sold consoles. But when you look at just the overall Xbox sales, most of them are with the Series S because it's cheaper. It's a more budget-friendly console. It is the cheapest current gen console, and they could get Game Pass with it and play new games and current existing games. And all they have to do, pay $300, pay $20 a month, boom. Only $300 technically, and they get a list of games, including new games coming out like Stalker 2. So, yeah, it's benefit to the consumer. So, of course, Microsoft ain't going to stop selling Xbox Series S's. So, honestly, this is just I'm just going to call out the developers for this because, honestly, the Series S, we mentioned before the console launched back in late 2020, after hearing games not hitting 1080p resolution that were hitting lower, we were talking about how the Series S is the worst console of all time, and it's a piece of garbage. Well, we actually bought one for ourselves like several months later, and actually we got a pretty good deal during the time period when it was hard through the pandemic. We bought one for $260 when you can't even find one in stores. Yeah, we got one for a pretty good price from somebody that used it, or used, I should say. That's what I meant to say. We got a pretty good deal on a used one, even though he only had it for like 2 months. So we technically got it brand new for roughly $260. And man, oh man, we turned that system on, got some games downloaded, and it for sure absolutely was better than we thought. Graphics-wise, performance-wise, it was a night and day difference than what we actually thought it was going to be. And we made a video discussing how much we were wrong, because we got a lot of criticism for it, talking about being the Series X being a piece of garbage before it came out. We got a lot of criticism for it. And then once we received our Series S and we tried it after having a Series X, however, we actually admitted we was wrong. And we still do. The Series S is a freaking fabulous console. And this is coming from somebody who has a PlayStation 5, which, as you can see right below us down there, and we have a Series X. And honestly, the Series S is still really impressive. And I still enjoy gaming on it just as much as our Series X. So, the Series S is definitely an impressive piece of hardware for the price that you're paying for it, especially when it comes to current gen, with new games and everything like that. Like the Series S, for the price point that it is, with the amount of power it has, even though it's not quite as powerful, it's still impressive for the price. And honestly, I hope Microsoft continues to support it, and I believe they will, because the Series S is a impressive piece of hardware. So, yeah, after trying Stalker 2 on it, it's actually still pretty good. Like, I cannot believe Stalker 2, honestly, even for slightly lower resolution, still looks pretty darn clean and crisp on the Series S. And, yeah. And Stalker 2 just came out, and to me, it is the best looking current gen game out there, minus Avatar: The Frontiers of Pandora. Those two games are absolutely the two best looking current gen games out there that we have experienced so far. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora and Stalker 2. Best looking games on the Series X and PS5 generation. So, yeah, this is just an area where I'm going to stand up for the Series S, and I'm just going to say to the developers, you better get your freaking work straight, guys. Because the Series S is just a lower version of the Series X, and all you guys have to freaking do is just lower the frame rate, lower some visuals, and then that's it. Test it out, and boom. Then you're done. That's simply all it is. It's not a freaking heart and day difference. So, honestly, this might make some of those developers mad, which I don't personally care, but I'm glad Microsoft is keeping the Series S alive, because it is the #1 most sold series console out of the two, the Series X and the Series X. Yeah. So, yeah, the Series S is still an impressive piece of hardware to this day, and developers need to get off their ass and realize that's just the best way to sell the most copies of games when it comes to the Xbox family of devices. So, yeah, Stalker 2 honestly still looks impressive on the Series S. So, this is Tech and Gaming Reviews. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you could, smack that like button. Subscribe if you're new to this channel, and we'll keep you posted with more content like this. And let us know in the comment section down below if you're somebody that has a Series S, and if you also are still impressive with it, and if you've been getting annoyed with a lot of developers trying to get Microsoft to kill the Series S off and just make games for the Series X only. So yeah, just let us know in the comment section down below on how your Series S experience is, or if you're somebody that has a Series X and you play a Series S, like, say, for example, in a different room or something, and you're still, like, impressed with it coming from a Series X. So just let us know in the comment section down below of your thoughts of the Xbox Series S and how do you feel on it. But before I fully end the video, just to do it again, happy Thanksgiving to all you out there. Hope you enjoy a nice, lovely Thanksgiving with your family, and enjoy every little minute that you can, because days like this only come every so often throughout the year on holidays. So enjoy it with your family, and I hope you all have a nice, wonderful Thanksgiving. So, but without further ado, Tech and Gaming Reviews. Rate, comment, subscribe, and we shall see you in the next one. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and peace.